Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this episode 3693 BN. Today's date is July 25th, 2025, and the title of the episode is The Deep State is Trapped with Epstein and the Russia Hoax. Eyes on, Trump has the floor. Let's talk about our health. We've been told our whole lives that wrinkle creams were the easiest way to look younger. Now, one doctor says that's nothing but old news. According to Dr. John Lakey, the world-renowned Beverly Hills expert, most wrinkle fixes on the market are nothing but glorified moisturizers. They hardly make a dent on your appearance, and some can even be harmful to your skin. Recently, Dr. Lakey has focused his attention away from mainstream cosmetic practices. Why? So he can pursue a revolutionary anti-aging breakthrough, one that some experts say could empty the wallets of the cosmetic industry. It's almost like Photoshop for your face. You may even be mad after seeing how easy it is to visibly erase your wrinkles from view. Lakey told reporters his personal clients have doubled his new do-it-yourself technique, the Age Rewinder method, because it can take years or even decades off your appearance in under 2 minutes. In light of this amazing breakthrough, Dr. Lakey has released a step-by-step video to the public, free and uninterrupted, where he outlines exactly how to use the simple solution from home. If this helps even one person look younger or feel more confident, I'll be thrilled knowing I helped, Dr. Lakey commented. The video has since gone viral. At first, it was shared by users on Facebook, but since then, it raked up over 2.3 million views and counting. So far, the comment and feedback have been outstanding, with thousands of women reporting they look decades younger. One viewer even commented, "Best results of anything I've used, and I can't believe how well this works. I'll never stop using this. I don't understand how it works, but the results are great. Thank you." So you can find out more about this yourself right now. Go to bhmd1.com/x22 or click on the link in the description box below. That's bhmd1.com/x22. Now there's one thing Dr. Lakey asks from his viewers. If watching this video helps you look and feel younger than you have in years, then please share this video with your friends and loved ones. Together we have the power to help as many women reclaim a youthful look as possible. Go watch the video at bhmd1.com/x22 right now, or just click on the link in the description box below. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, big tech, fake news, the puppet masters, they fell right into the trap that Trump set. Now, they thought they were going to trap Trump with the whole Epstein thing. Yes, they had their shills out there. They had certain influencers out there. They convinced some MAGA people into thinking, oh, yes, we must release the Epstein files. And Trump, he used this to his advantage because he knew it was a trap. He knew that the information that was sitting there is completely and utterly manipulated. And if you notice, the Ds and the fake news and all these others, all they wanted was that information. They didn't want information from Ghislaine Maxwell. They didn't want information from the grand jury. They didn't want any other type of information except the information that they had just sitting there. It reminds me of Russian collusion, if we go back to 2016. And Trump knew it was a trap, so he said, you know something? I'm going to use this against these individuals. Let's get all the Ds. Let's get the fake news. Let's get everyone out there calling for the Epstein files over and over and over, just like he did with nobody's above the law. Remember, this is being done on purpose because, again, everything is connected. And with the Russian hoax, you can see that Trump now has trapped them in this. And everyone's saying, well, Obama's going to get off. He's going to have immunity. And the statute of limitations running out. Well, remember, Russian collusion is only one crime. It's only one thing. Because you have to remember, when this started in 2016, or actually a little bit before that, it has never, ever ended. So when Trump says, oh, because of the Supreme Court ruling, Obama, he's going to get off because he has immunity, it only pertains to the Russian collusion when he was president. Does it pertain to the overthrow of the United States government in 2020? Does it pertain to all the indictments against Trump? You really think that was Biden? Does it pertain to the rigging of the election in 2022? Does it include the rigging of the election in 2024? Does it include the assassination attempt against Trump? No, it does not. So right now, Trump pretty much set the stage. He now has the floor, and all eyes are on Obama. And of course, Trump is never going to come out saying, hey, you know what? You don't have immunity. Hey, you know what? you're going to jail. Well, he might say he's going to jail. But again, he likes to play it, especially with the rule of law. I don't know. The Supreme Court's going to have to rule that. I don't know. Can he be convicted? I don't know. That's how the art of the deal is used. And if you notice, Obama kind of uses the same type of strategy. If you notice, Obama, he always sits back. He always lets others do everything without him looking like he's doing anything, like he's not even involved. But we all know he is. And I do believe all roads lead to Obama. I do believe all eyes are on Obama. And you could see that Trump now, he is building the narrative with Epstein. Not the narrative the deep state wants, not the narrative where they were putting pressure on Bondi and Cash and the rest. Not that narrative. Trump wants to tell the story, the true story, the story that is based in facts, just like with Russian collusion. And he was able to get the deep state players, the fake news, influencers, exactly where he wanted them. You want the Epstein stuff? I'm going to give you the Epstein stuff. And you know what? We're going to get it from the source. We're not going to use these documents. We're going to go to the grand jury. We're going to actually speak to Ghislaine Maxwell. Actually, we're going to speak to those victims that were involved in all of this. You want the real stuff? We're going to give you the real stuff. And you can see already he's now building this up. The same with Russian collusion. Actually, all of it is happening at the same exact time. Now, we're going to be talking a lot more about this a little bit later. But first, let's talk about what is happening with the blue cities around the country. Because Trump right now, he's going to be signing executive orders to remove the homeless people from the streets and actually give them treatment. Remember, these individuals, most of them belong in insane asylums. Yes, there might be other people that just down on their luck. But most of the people on the streets, if you ever walk down the street of New York, if you ever walk down the street of Chicago, or you're in LA, most of these people that are a little loony-toony. And you can hear them screaming and yelling as they walk away. A lot of these individuals are on drugs. And I do believe that he is now cleaning up the country. Remember, the deep state players, the Ds, they basically released everyone out onto the streets because they wanted to be chaotic. They wanted chaos on the streets. This was their entire agenda here. Why do you think they were bringing all the illegals in? Brian Cates responded to all this and said, I really hope this is true. Our country has not had sane national policy for dealing with the mentally ill homeless since Reagan's first term. That was a long time ago, and it was a long time ago. Why do you think the cities look the way they look today? Because, again, this is all because of the Ds. And think about it. When they brought in all these illegals and they brought in all these children into this country, it was on purpose that they didn't know where the children went. Plausible deniability. I don't know. We set them up with this sponsor. I don't know what happened to them. We need ICE. We need other people checking on them. What? Oh, everything's backlogged? Oh, see, that's not our fault. There's just a lot of people. And it looks like the amount of children that went missing is a lot higher than 320,000. Nick Sorter put this out and said, Stephen Miller just announced the number of missing kids that Joe Biden trafficked into our country is actually 450,000, much higher than the 320,000 originally believed. The Democrats have committed crimes to which they can never be forgiven. And Trump is cleaning it all up. And we could see that, yes, he has to clean up the entire country. The deep state players, the Ds, Soros, and all the others, they created all these problems. Remember, the Ds, the intelligence agencies, the criminal syndicate created the terrorists, created these problems in the city, created the wars, created COVID, created the pandemic, created 9/11, created all of the Russian collusion, created the Epstein file. They created all of this. And Trump now has to clean it up. But again, it has to be exposed to the people, and the people must understand what they did. And what's very interesting is it seems like everything now is boomeranging on the Ds. Rasmussen Reports put this out and said, where did yesterday's Epstein AstroTurf on X go to? Why did the Biden admin do zero on Epstein for 4 years? Why did Senate Democrats not support full transparency? Why weren't they worried about Epstein all those years? Because they were keeping the manipulated documents for a specific reason, to be used against Trump. They were hoping that this was their insurance policy. Clandestine put this out and said, the only people who believe Trump is implicated are the people who don't know the Trump-Epstein timeline. So here's the timeline. 2005, Trump banned Epstein from all Trump properties for hitting on an underage girl. 2006, Epstein arrested in Florida after Trump helped victims go after Epstein. 2008, Epstein convicted on minimal charges, an 18-month sentence from Bush-appointed judge, and let off the hook by Clinton-allied FBI. 2008 to 2016, Obama and the Dems did absolutely nothing about Epstein. The media didn't touch it. It was a conspiracy theory. 2017, less than 3 weeks after inauguration, Trump signs Executive Order 13773, targeting transnational criminal organizations and preventing criminal trafficking. It was one of the first things Trump did as POTUS. Trump targeted not just Epstein's operation, but others like it around the world. 2019, Trump's DOJ arrests Epstein, seizes his island, throws him in jail for crimes against children. 2020, Trump's DOJ arrests Maxwell, throws her in jail for crimes against children. 2021 to 2024, Dems under Biden don't say a word about Epstein. Anyone who is spreading that Trump is implicated in crimes related to Epstein is simply proving they are ignorant to the entire situation and timeline. Trump is not Epstein's buddy. Trump used the full force of the U.S. government to take Epstein out, shut down his operation, seized his island, threw his ass in jail. Trump has been after Epstein for 20 years. After Trump found out the monster that he was, Trump knew what he had to do. Trump is Epstein's number one enemy. And think about it. The fake news, the deep state players, they put out a fake letter where they're saying that Trump wrote him a birthday letter. And we know it's completely and utterly fake. Because again, when you put it through AI says, this is not Trump. It's written in third person. And Trump even says, I don't draw pictures. And once again, they can't produce any of the real evidence. J.D. Vance says the following. The contention, which is pretty clear if you just read what I said, is that it's bogus for the Wall Street Journal to publish a hit piece without showing us the letter. I have no idea if the book exists. Wall Street Journal won't show it to us. I have no idea if the letter exists. The Wall Street Journal won't show it to us. What I find absurd is the idea that Trump was writing poems to Epstein. And I find it equally absurd that a major American paper would attack the president of the United States without revealing the basis for the attack. We all know what's going to happen. They're going to dribble little details out for days or weeks in an effort to assassinate the president's character. They won't show us this book, or allow us to refute it until they wrung every bit of fake news out of the story. And everyone will just move on from that fact that the Wall Street Journal is acting like a Democrat super PAC. It's disgraceful, and it's why the president sued. And what's very interesting is that the Wall Street Journal, after a couple of days, they came out with something very, very interesting. Chuck Ross says the following. Wall Street Journal now reports that 6 people, including Bill Clinton and Vera Wang, signed the Epstein birthday book that Trump allegedly signed. Either Wall Street Journal already knew this, but have been playing games, or their sources only just provided this key context. Well, I think they already knew. I think they already had that information, and the only thing that was missing was Trump's poem and his signature. So they went, holy crap, here's his birthday book. Trump didn't do anything with it, but everyone else did. He's not included. All right, so we'll include him, and we'll put out a story to make everyone believe that, look, Trump did it, so this way we can explain why everyone else did it. See, everyone's in the same group, but Trump didn't do it. Byron York says, why did the Journal wait 7 days to report this? Yeah, why did they? Isn't that interesting? I believe they knew this the entire time. And think about it. The Wall Street Journal, once again, is putting out stories that Trump is included in the Epstein documents. Well, yes, he is included in the Epstein documents. He went after Epstein. The Skiff put this out and said, Trump is in the Epstein files and proves what we knew all along. All you got to do is look at the court documents. Trump has never been on Epstein Island. Jeffrey Epstein owned a total of 5 aircraft and bought Little St. James Island in 1988. Trump's last trip on one of Epstein's jets before he permanently cut ties with him and banned him from Mar-a-Lago was in 1997. So let's see. Trump was on his plane in 97. Epstein didn't buy the island until 98. So Trump never went to the island. Epstein's own flight logs, brother, and pilot prove that out of the 7 total trips on Epstein's jets, Trump never flew on the Lolita Express and were all from Mar-a-Lago to New York to New Jersey and Washington, D.C., and the only people who were ever on the plane were Trump's own family, Epstein and his brother. Epstein's own lawyer personally asked Epstein if he had any dirt on Trump, and he said no. Julian Assange was asked if he had dirt on Trump. He said no, because there isn't any. Trump was the one who originally told the FBI about Epstein and the only one who helped prosecutors convict Epstein in 2008. Every single other person asked refused. Ask yourself why. Trump went after and had Epstein arrested under federal sex trafficking charges. Epstein's cellmate in an interview said that he asked Epstein if he had dirt on him. He said no. All the victims in the Epstein files that were released held no incriminating evidence on Trump whatsoever, and every victim testified that they never saw Trump at any of the locations with women or children, and no abuse ever occurred, and even supported him for president. Ask yourself why Biden never mentioned Epstein or the files, and most importantly, released them. No Democrat has even mentioned Epstein for the past decade until now. Both Trump and AG Pam Bondi have now both asked judges and demand that all Epstein files be unsealed and released, along with the Senate Republicans' attempt to pass the resolution yesterday on 7/24/25, and Senate Democrats objected to the resolution to release the files again, with Democrat Obama-appointed judges also denying the request to release the files. Trump is clean, and people can't accept that. They also never cared or talked about the Epstein files or anything until the Wall Street Journal and mainstream media started to push lies and use slick wording by saying Trump is in the files, which everyone already knows, and is proven to have not done anything illegal that has to do with Epstein, the victims, or any children, period. It's just a poor political ploy to others and the Democrats. They never cared about the victims, children being trafficked, the 450,000 trafficked missing minors from the Biden-Harris administration from the southern border, or Epstein and the files in general, and keep passing laws to reduce penalties when people are caught for sexually abusing them. These people are sick, and they never cared. They're grooming children and pushing for just the opposite, and it must be shut down. And this is the exact goal of the Trump administration. Shut down the woke radical left, their deep state globalist cabal, their child trafficking and abusing ideologies, and save the children. This is not a game, but it is played like one. Think bigger, trust Trump. Absolutely. And Trump, he turned this all around. He got them, and he got all the shills and the influencers and the fake news. Everyone's out there. Let's talk about debt. The system isn't broken, it's rigged. And if you're buried in debt, that's exactly how they want it. Big banks profit when you're desperate. Creditors win when you lose, but you don't have to play their game. PDS Debt helps you take back control. They've helped hundreds of thousands break free from credit cards, loans, and high-interest traps. It's your money. It's your future. Time to fight for both. PDS Debt goes beyond the numbers to understand your unique financial situation and craft a personalized plan designed just for you. There's no minimum credit score required. They're here to help you save money, pay off your debt faster, and start putting money back where it belongs, in your pocket. PDS Debt is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, boasts thousands of 5-star reviews on Google, and holds a 5-star rating on Trustpilot. Why? Because PDS has helped hundreds of thousands of people get out of debt. If I had needed this product, it's what I'd use. You're 30 seconds away from being debt-free. Get your free assessment and find the best option for you right now at pdsdebt.com/x22. That's pdsdebt.com/x22. Or just click the link in the description. Bring out the Epstein files. We need them. And then Trump just says, okay, grand jury. Hey, oh, you don't want those. Oh, that's interesting. Hey, you know what? We're going to interview Ghislaine Maxwell. She's going to spill the beans. You want to get in on this one? Oh, no, you don't? Oh, you don't like her testifying. Oh, that's interesting. So now, as Trump was heading to Marine One and he was traveling, he took some questions from the press. And now we could see that he's asking some questions, and he's telling the press, you know what? Go find these people. Charlie Kirk put this out and said the following. President Trump just named checked Bill Clinton and Larry Summers when asked about Epstein. You ought to be talking about Larry Summers, he said, or Bill Clinton, who went to the island 28 times. I never went to the island. Gunther Eagleman put this out and said, President Trump just said that he'll be giving out a list of influential people and hedge fund managers who basically lived with Epstein. You should focus on Clinton. You should focus on the former president of Harvard. You should focus on some of the hedge fund guys. I'll give you a list. These guys live with Jeffrey Epstein. I sure as hell didn't. Boy, did this just boomerang on all of them. And the House panel right now, this is coming from the New York Post, has voted to subpoena Bill and Hillary Clinton over possible links to Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, Schumer is not too happy about all of this because he just wanted the manipulated files out there. He doesn't like that Todd Blanche is now interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell and she's singing like a bird. And she just handed over like 100 different people to them. And Schumer now is condemning the DOJ meeting with Maxwell. He says it stinks of high corruption. Wait a minute, I thought you wanted the Epstein stuff. Remember, Ghislaine Maxwell was Epstein's right-hand man. Remember, she could pilot a submarine. She could fly a chopper. She worked with Rachel Chandler. They went to all the different agencies, worked with Victoria's Secret. They worked with all these people to get the girls. Why doesn't he want to speak to her? Why is he saying this is no good? Oh, that's right. They just wanted the manipulated data. That's why. And this tells you everything you need to know. Todd Blanche, he put this out and said, today I met with Ghislaine Maxwell, and I will continue my interview of her tomorrow. The Department of Justice will share additional information about what we learn at the appropriate time. So remember, the interviews, they're recorded, and she has counsel. And you know they're going to ask her about Trump multiple times. You know what's going to happen. She's going to say, "This Trump was never there. I don't know what you're talking about." Now, the Democrats, they'll soon demand the interview recordings be kept a secret because they don't want any of this out there. Wait until you see how all of a sudden they are going to be the one, just like we're seeing right now. They object to releasing everything. They're going to be the one saying, we don't want that out there. We object to everything except for what the manipulated documents that we created. So you can see Trump, he just played them. And he's telling everyone everything that you heard from Fox and from CNN, MSDNC, and all these other people. It's a gigantic hoax. Nobody should be falling for this. Bondi, Kash Patel, Bongino, Noam, Tulsi Gabbard, Radcliffe, they're all working together. They're not fighting. All of that is BS. They're going after the true enemy. That's what they're doing. Trump, he put this out on Truth. He said the following. The radical left Democrats are doing everything in their power to distract and obfuscate from our great 6 months of service to America, results of which many are saying is the best 6 months in the presidential history. They have gone absolutely crazy and are playing another Russia hoax, but this time under the guise of what we call the Jeffrey Epstein scam. As things are revealed, and I hope will take place quickly, you will see that it is yet another Democratic con job. Hopefully, the grand jury files will put an end to this hoax. Everyone should see what is there, but people who are innocent should not be hurt. Make America great again. And we could see there are certain judges that were appointed by Obama. They don't want this information out there. I do believe they're now being pressured into saying, we are not going to release this. We'll see what happens in New York. Remember, they asked for a lot of different things. I think that they did that to make it look like, yeah, they're going to do something. And then when the DOJ says, okay, here's the information, they're going to say, well, you know what? It doesn't meet our criteria. We're not going to release it. We'll have to see how this all plays out. This is going to be very, very interesting. But in the end, what we're going to see is that it's going to be the D's that are saying we don't want this out there. And actually, the fake news, they will stop reporting on it because, again, all they want is the manipulated stuff. And if they do mention something, they'll only mention the manipulated stuff. Now, what's very interesting, and true Stormy Joe realized that, hey, wait a minute, Trump just put this out about Epstein, and it looks like it's a Delta. And he's pointing to post 3491. It's July 24, 2019. There's a post by Ryan Savendra. It says, breaking, Jeffrey Epstein found injured in New York City jail cell after possible suicide attempt or assault. Down below it says, eyes on. So eyes on Jeffrey Epstein. Very, very interesting. Let's see how this all plays out. I do believe it's not going to end the way the deep state, the D's, the fake news want it to end. Trump now just turned the whole thing around on them. Basically, he trapped them. Now, the other thing that we could see is that Trump now is moving very, very quickly to have peace. Now, again, you can't have peace with terrorists. You can't have peace with certain individuals that are controlled, like Zelensky, controlled by terrorists. I'm talking about the EU and NATO and the rest. Those are the deep state players. And eventually, terrorists will not talk about peace. They will not talk about ceasefire. And what's very interesting is that France, they decided they're going to recognize the Palestinian state. Now, Secretary Marco Rubio responded to Macron and said the United States strongly rejects Macron's plan to recognize a Palestinian state at the UN General Assembly. This reckless decision only serves Hamas propaganda and sets back peace. It is a slap in the face to the victims of October 7th. And Trump, he was asked the question, what do you think of Macron wanting to recognize a Palestinian state? And his answer is absolutely incredible. Here's the good news. What he says doesn't matter. His statement doesn't carry any weight. And we can see that Hamas, it's a state-funded terrorist group funded by the deep state players. Terrorists do not make deals. Terrorists do not speak about peace. Terrorists are terrorists. And we can see right now, Hamas doesn't want to make a peace deal. They don't want to make a ceasefire deal. And Trump now has brought back Witkoff. He's cutting his Gaza ceasefire talk short. And at this point, they're going to move in a different direction. And Trump said he thinks Hamas terrorists are now going to be hunted down. Because again, you can't have peace with terrorists. It doesn't work. That's why they're called terrorists. Just like criminals steal, rob, maim, kill, loot. They don't follow the law. Terrorists don't follow anything. So how can you actually speak to them? It's pretty darn impossible. Now, the other thing that's very interesting is that we can see the deep state players, they tried to remove Alina Habba from New Jersey. We had Hakeem Jeffries. He was coordinating with a lot of the different judges within New Jersey. And they basically were trying to remove Alina Habba, putting the Deputy Attorney General into place. And you can see the Trump administration, they countered their move. And we had Pam Bondi. She went ahead and she fired the deputy. So they couldn't put her into the position of the interim Attorney General. And basically, Trump came out and said, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make you the acting Attorney General. Oh, he just shut down the whole damn thing. U.S. Attorney Habba put this out and said the following. Donald J. Trump is the 47th president. Pam Bondi is the Attorney General. And I am now the acting United States Attorney for the District of New Jersey. I don't cower to pressure. I don't answer to politics. This is a fight for justice. And I'm all in. So now, their entire plan just completely fell apart. And now she's the acting Attorney General. And she could stay there for quite a bit. And she has to be confirmed. Now, once again, we know that the House and the Senate, they're going to recess. Well, the House is going to recess. The Senate, are they going to stay there? And now are they going to confirm everyone? If they do recess, Trump will just do recess appointments. I think it's a win-win if you actually really look at it. We'll have to see how it all plays out. Now, there is some talk, and this is coming from Thomas Massie. I mean, they're not very good sources, where they're saying that Johnson is going to continually come back into House, so they're never really in recess. And John Thune is going to do the same thing, like every 4 or 5 days. And if this is actually done, this would mess up the confirmation process in the Senate because Trump couldn't make recess appointments, and they're really not going to confirm anything because, again, there's really nobody there. Now, I don't know why Johnson and Thune would do this. That doesn't make sense whatsoever, especially when Johnson said, no, we're going on recess. That's it. Now, either Thune is going to stay there and make sure that everyone is there to confirm Trump's nominees, or they take a recess and they don't come back. We'll have to see how this plays out. This is going to be very, very interesting. Now, the other thing that we could see is Trump, he is now nominating a lot of different people. And in North Carolina, it looks like he is now nominating Michael Whatley. Remember, he was the chairman of the RNC. And now he wants him to take the position in North Carolina. We also have Mike Rogers. Remember, he was involved in the whole Russian collusion thing. He's now running for the U.S. Senate in the great state of Michigan. So Trump is nominating many, many different people right now, not just these two, but he has a whole list of people. And if you want to see all the people, you can go to his timeline on Truth, and you can read all the people that he is now nominating. So if you are in a state and you want to know who he's nominating and endorsing, well, that's where you can go. Maybe tomorrow or the next day, maybe I'll put a whole list together so this way make it a lot easier. But if you want to know right now, that's where you can go. Now, the other thing that we could see happening right now is that the deep state players, they're panicking over what is coming out in regards to Russian collusion. And you have to remember, the fake news was all involved in this. Remember, most of the people that were pushing this hoax, they were employed by the fake news outlets, Peter Strzok, Brennan, Clapper, you name it. And they were pushing this fake information. They knowingly were doing this, and the networks knowingly hired these people. Think about that for a second. Jeff Carlson says they weren't fooled by their sources. All of those journalists knew exactly what they were doing, particularly the national security correspondents at the Washington Post and New York Times. They were part of it. Same thing with CNN, same thing with MSDNC, same thing with all the different fake news outlets. They all knew, which means they're all part of it. And you can see that the deep state players, the Ds, they're having a very difficult time accepting this. And I do believe this is why Trump and the Patriots, they're dripping this out. So this way people have time to digest it. People have time to question it. Some people might say, I don't even want to hear about it. But what's happening is people now across the country, they're all talking about it. And as time goes on and more data comes out, more and more people are going to talk about it. Cynical Publius put this out and said, literally everything about the belief system of the modern Democrat is based on Trump-Russia collusion. The data dump by D&I Gabbard showing that it was all lies is creating the same effect on Democrats as would happen to Muslims if some archaeologists conclusively proved Mohammed never existed. Democrats are in the midst of having their entire belief system completely discredited. No one knows where this will lead. It's that monumental. And that is absolutely true because what's happening right now, this is basically breaking their brainwashing. Now, they're going to reject every step of the way. And this is why I do believe Trump is bringing this information out slowly but surely. And he's going to connect all the dots. Yes, you might not believe, and I'm talking about the Ds, you might not believe the Russian collusion. You might say, oh no, Trump is just saying this. But when you start to bring in other parts of what these same people have been doing, like overthrowing the United States government, actually blackmailing people by sending people to Epstein Island to basically satisfy their fetishes. When you start to see all of that come together, it's very, very difficult to ignore. And I think every step of the way, more and more people are going to wake up. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. Because again, when you're hearing this for the first time, remember, you got to put yourself in their position. They stare at CNN, MSDNC all day long. They only listen to their own people. And when they hear something from Fox or they hear something on social media, they say, no, this can't be true. And then they go back to CNN, MSDNC. I think you know those people either friends, family, or whoever you know. But it's very difficult because they live in a separate world. They don't want to see all different aspects of what's going on. And this is going to take a little while to break the brainwashing. But I do believe it's going to be done because as more and more information comes out, you're going to see people start to say, you know something, maybe there's something to this. Now, Devin Nunes, he believes that the raid on Mar-a-Lago is very, very important. Patriots of Control put this out and said, he said it's the key to tying the grand conspiracy together, saying he believes they were trying to find Russia collusion hoax evidence, and the statute of limitation has not run out on that, which is very, very interesting. And I do believe that, yes, we might have Russian collusion. And when people say, oh, the statute of limitations are running out, but if this is a grand conspiracy and they've committed crime after crime after crime, well, the statute of limitations, it means it hasn't run out. Now, Trump, he's letting everyone know that Obama, he does have presidential immunity. SCOTUS ruled on this. And you have to remember, as Obama was president, his official duties as president, it allows him to be immune to certain things. And Trump is letting everyone know that he owes him big because of this. Now, remember, Obama was president when they started the Russian collusion thing. He was not president when they rigged the elections, when they indicted Trump, when they tried to assassinate him. Remember, the grand conspiracy didn't stop after Trump's first term. It continued. And Obama, Clinton, Clapper, Brett, none of these people were in office. They were citizens, which means they're guilty, especially when they were running the country and Biden wasn't. Remember, none of these people are elected. Think about this for a second. Brian Cates put this out and said the following. To everyone bloviating on here that Obama has presidential immunity for any criminal actions he committed or any RICO criminal conspiracies he started or joined in while he was in office, Obama only has immunity for his official acts. Criminal acts, like being part of a highly organized RICO conspiracy to target an innocent man for firing, and prosecution based on felony leak or classified information, and the effing stupid claim of a Logan Act violation. Nope. No immunity for that. For anybody involved, including Biden, being part of a criminal RICO conspiracy to ensure criminal leaking of SAP material was not charged or pursued by investigators, even though everyone involved left an email paper trail. Nope. No immunity for obstruction of justice. Just ask Richard Nixon. Those are not covered by presidential immunity. Obama literally cannot argue, but I was still president at the time. But if he wants to try it, he could be my guest. And we could see that it is what's happening right now with Russia, the Russia hoax. It is now resonating with the people. Rasmussen reports put this out and said, Russiagate. 60% of all voters say the accusations are serious scandal. Few, however, expect criminal prosecutions of government officials involved. Well, I do believe there is going to be prosecution of these individuals. It might not be on Russia collusion, but you have to remember these same people have committed many, many, many more crimes. And the grand conspiracy was continued from 2016 all the way up to the present day. So I do believe Trump and the Patriots, they allowed this, and think about the sting operation, they allowed this to happen because they knew if they waited, the statute of limitations would have run out. But if you let the grand conspiracy go on and on and on, and you let them commit crime after crime after crime, you let them overthrow the United States government, you push fake indictments, you blackmail people via Epstein, you try to assassinate the president of the United States or the person that's running for the president of the United States. When you do all of that, well, that adds up. And I do believe Trump and the Patriots knew that we had one shot to do this, and you just can't depend on one charge. You need multiple charges, and you needed to make sure the grand conspiracy continued throughout all these years because they knew the plan was going to take a long time. And they knew that in certain instances, the statute of limitations would have run out. But if you allow them to continue it and you allow them to continue with their criminal activity, you basically got them. Dan Scavino put out a post on X. This is from January 20th, 2017. There's a picture of Obama. Pence is in the background, Trump, and Trump is staring down Obama. And Scavino has two eyes. All eyes are now on Obama. And I do believe in the end, Trump and the Patriots, they're going to be bringing down all of these people. They're going to be bringing them to justice. But along the way, they're going to feel pain every step of the way. Why? Because the Patriots are in control. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.